Hi, it's Erica Gellerman of theworthproject.co. At The Worth Project, you'll find simple personal finance information to make money work for you so you can live more of the life that you want right now. Today, I'm going to walk you through a quick overview of how to use your personal capital dashboard. So, a lot of personal capital is really user friendly, but hopefully, this video will shortcut your setup process. So, I know for me, it's a lot easier to set things up when I watch a quick video, so I want to show you some basic things that I've learned along the way. If you don't already know, Personal Capital has a free tool that can help you manage all of your money in one place. I personally use it to aggregate all of our bank and investment accounts in one place so I can get a snapshot of our money at any time. I also use their retirement planner, their college savings calculator, and their investment fee analyzer. So one last thing before we dive in, Personal Capital has investment services. I haven't used those. I personally don't have an opinion on them. In this video, I'm just covering the basics of their free tools, the calculators and the dashboards. Ready to see how this works? Let's dive in. All right, guys, let's get logged into Personal Capital and get started with this. If you've already set up an account, you can just log right in. If this is the first time you're logging in, you'll be met with a little warning right here in the center saying you can connect your accounts. Since I've already connected a few accounts, I log right in and I get straight to my dashboard. If I'd like to link other accounts, I can just come over here and click this, pick a bank or type in a bank, and I can add any other accounts that I have. So any bank accounts, investment accounts, a mortgage account, a credit card, I can add all that. I can also add my home value with Zillow. And then it will give me a really easy estimate of my net worth. So you can see as soon as you log in, it takes the balances and updates them for every single account that you've connected. So these are all of my assets. I don't have any liabilities linked in here. If I was to have linked a credit card or a mortgage account, that would show up as a liability. So this is my first stop when I log into Personal Capital. I come over and look at the net worth calculation and just get an update, a nice snapshot of everything that I have going on. This is really nice because I don't have to log into all of my different bank accounts and keep track of things. I can just log into one place and see a snapshot of everything that I have. On the next part of this dashboard, you'll come over here and you'll see how your net worth has changed over the last 90 days. So since I just signed up today, my net worth has increased this much over one day. But as you use it for longer, you can kind of track how it goes up and down over 90 days. You'll also be able to come down here, see your cash flow. So you'll see the deposits that were made over the last month and other income that you've received over the last month, as well as your expenses. You can also click on this budgeting tool. I don't use this really, but if you track your money by category, you can come over here and do that. So I have a couple of expenses that have come through. If you wanted to kind of change the category, you can look at what the expense was and recategorize it as, let's say entertainment. So that will then update your expenses to show that, I've spent, let's see, $12 on clothing and shoes, $5 on entertainment, and $1 on online services. So it gives you a really easy overview of what you've spent on what during the month. So let's head back to the dashboard. Scrolling down on the dashboard a little bit more, you have your portfolio balance. This shows you your investments that you have, just a snapshot of what you have in investments. Again, I signed up for this account today just to show you guys a little bit of what's going on. So it shows my portfolio balance increasing by this much just in one day. And then also it tracks your goals to retirement savings. So I had already put in a goal of $1,500 per month to save for retirement spending. This shows you how on track you are with that goal. I've saved nothing for retirement this month according to these accounts. So it shows me completely off track. Okay, once you are done looking at your dashboard, this is really where I always come first. It just gives such an easy, nice snapshot of everything. I probably log into Personal Capital once or twice a month just to get a sense of where things are. It's so much easier than My husband used to keep all of this in spreadsheets and update it quarterly so we could see what our account balances were. But this just makes everything so much easier. All right, so I'm going to take you to the very first tool that I started using, which is the retirement planner. So this tool will help you to see whether you are on or off track for retirement. So I've put in a scenario so far. So the first time you click on retirement planner, which is under planning, you'll go through and you'll put your name, your age, and when you want to retire. So for this one, I put that I want to retire at 65, and I'm currently 34 right now. And then I input how much I'm saving every single year for retirement and how much I also want to spend in retirement every single year. So it goes through and it shows you, what your odds are of actually being able to make that in retirement. So for what I've put in, I have a 39% chance that I'm going to be able to support myself in retirement. So my monthly retirement spending ability is projected to be $3,800 per month. What I had wanted was for it to be $5,400 per month. However, what I love about this is you can come down here and make adjustments. So right now I have my savings at $15,000 per year, and I have my Social Security estimate starting at age 67 for $16,000 per year. You can decide whether or not to include Social Security. It's up to you. You can edit your assumptions, so I can go in and edit each one of these, and it will change the outcome. So let's say I have saved so far $20,000. I'm using the dashboard estimates because I've linked all my accounts. Personal Capital can see exactly how much I've saved for retirement. And let's say I'm saving $15,000, which is what I had originally put in. And then I remember that actually my employer contributes a little bit. So I'm going to up that to $18,500 because that is actually how much I'm saving, including my employer contributions. And you know what? I'm going to actually bump this up every single year. My goal is to save let's just say 1% more. So by changing this to, include the employer contributions that I have or bump up my savings and then increasing it by 1% per year, I can then run a new simulation and see that I'm looking better for retirement. So I'm going to save that. And that's now going to be my new goal, is to save this much. You can also add other income events. So let's say maybe you'll get an inheritance, maybe you'll get a pension, or you'll have some rental income in retirement. Let's go with that. I'm going to have some rental income in retirement. And let's say it's going to be about $25,000 every year. But it's not going to start until 15 years from now because that's when the mortgage will be paid off. So we can put that in and see what that does for our scenario. And now all of a sudden I am in great shape for retirement. So this takes into account everything that you want to tell it. It brings it in and it gives you a really, nice overview of how on or off track you are. You can also put in other spending goals. And so this is where we start getting into the education planner. And so I've put in my spending goal of $65,000 per year. And let's say that before retirement, I maybe want to save for a wedding, maybe want to save for a vacation, a huge vacation or something, or I want to purchase a home. So let's say I'm going to purchase another home. When I move out of the property that I'm eventually going to rent, and I'm going to need a down payment of, let's call it $50,000. So I'm going to buy that in 5 years. We can add that, and you will see it really hasn't done much to my ability to meet my retirement goals. And you can come over here and see it right here. These orange ones are expenses, so that's where my home purchase will happen. It'll bring my account balance down a little, but it will keep growing. Then I start getting my rental income, my retirement, and my Social Security. So we will just save this scenario. And now I'm going to show you how the education tool works. So I was so excited to find this tool because we have a new baby joining us, and I needed to figure out how much to start putting away in a 529. I really had no idea. So I used some calculators, but I really wanted to get a really good estimate because I wanted to start off on the right foot. So you'll go and put a new education goal. I'm selecting, I've already input that it's a daughter. To be honest, I don't know if I'm having a girl or boy, but I put in a daughter. And I'm going to save for higher education. So the birth date, March 1st. And then you can put in what the education goal is. So you can either, let's say you haven't connected the 529 to personal capital, you can manually put in how much money you have in that. But I have actually already connected an account that I'll use for this estimation. So we have this one account. I'm going to put 100% of this account towards education. So when will this baby go to school? They'll go to school when they're 18. They'll go to school for 4 years. So then how much do you plan to cover? And it gives you some estimates based on your state. So I had already put in that we're in California, so hopefully this child will go to school in California. And it gives you some estimates. So California public in-state institution, average of $23,000, out of state 36, and private is 41. So just to get us started, I'm going to say, you know what, I'm going to try and cover $25,000 per year of college for this baby for 4 years. Once you put that in, it suggests, hey, you know what, you want to contribute $327 per month to hit this goal. Well, that's great. So I'm going to plan on doing that and contributing that monthly. But since this baby was just born, you can also add one-time deposit. So let's say this baby was just born and the grandparents were feeling generous, and they not quite that generous, and they wanted to contribute a one-time deposit of $5,000. So we will go ahead and add that, and we'll see if we're on track or off track for college. So right now, you can see this blue is what I'm planning to have saved. This lighter gray is a California public undergrad. The middle is out of state, and the dark gray on the right is private. So right now we're looking pretty good for public school. It looks like I'm going to be able to cover those costs. And if you come down here, it tells you that, hey, I'm actually going to have a $7,500 surplus if I keep saving at that rate of $327 a month. And my projected tax savings from opening a 529 are almost $14,000. So here's what I also really love about this is I can get really, really specific with the college. So let's say I want to make sure my child goes to UC Santa Barbara, which is where I went for undergrad. So all of a sudden I can see that, oh, actually, even though an average California public undergrad is $23,000 per year, UC Santa Barbara is this one all the way on the right in the yellow, and that's going to be about $38,000 per year. So I'm not coming that close to covering that. So I can edit my contributions if I want to and raise that, or I can change this maybe to a different college, a cheaper school, or I can just decide that, you know what, all I'm going to do is plan to pay that $25,000 per year for this baby, and they will need to figure out a way to make up the rest because college is expensive. And then if you hit preview, you can add this to your overall plan and see how saving for college will affect your retirement. So now you can see down here, I have a new spending goal, and we can see that come through, let's see, right over here. When I am 52, my child will go to school, and how does this factor into my whole retirement plan? So it really didn't change my ability to retire with the income that I want. So everything looks pretty good so far. So this is really why I love both the retirement planner and this college savings tool, because it takes into account your whole entire financial life and gives you, I don't know, that peace of mind to really feel good about what you're doing, or to make adjustments and feel like you're in the know and you know what you need to change in order to get on the right track or to stay on the right track. The next tool that I think is really helpful is this retirement fee analyzer. So you've probably heard a lot about fees and how much they affect your overall portfolio and the earnings and how much you can actually lose from your retirement to fees if your fees are too high. So this attempts to break down what your fees are and how much of your retirement earnings are going to be lost to fees. So this pulls in what you've connected. So I've connected a couple of investment accounts. So this first one, it brought this one over. It says my expense ratio is 0.19%, which as we're looking up here, it starts off with my annual fees are 0.88%, and benchmark for retirement portfolio, they're saying should be about 0.5%. So they're estimating that I'm losing 3 years of my retirement to fees, or 21% of my earnings overall will be lost to fees, a total of $139,000. So coming down, we can start going through all of the different funds and accounts to see exactly where that's coming from. So looking at this first one, this is what it pulled in. I have an expense ratio of 0.19%. So that's well below that benchmark. So that's really not what's causing it to go up. So that one looks fine. And it's nice to just be able to see what my fees are and look in one place. Coming down here, so there are also investments for which they actually can't pull the fees. They don't have the data. So you need to, if you would like this to be included, you need to give them that fee estimate. So this is one of the funds that they don't have an estimate for me. So I had put in that it's a 1.5% expense ratio. But you know what? Then I went back and I looked it up, and it's actually closer to a 0.2% expense ratio. So I changed that slider here, gave them the information, and we come back up here and fees are so much better. 0.2% compared to the benchmark of 0.5%. I'm only going to lose 5% of my earnings to fees by the end, and only $33,000. So not only is this, such a great illustration for how much fees affect your retirement and your investments overall, but it's also just such an easy place for you to kind of start wrapping your head around how much fees are and how much they affect things. And then finally, I'm going to show you just one more thing in here. I don't use this that often, but it is really interesting to look at. Sometimes you'll think about, how much of my portfolio is in stocks, what's in bonds, what's in alternatives, what's domestic. And when you have a lot of accounts, it's really hard to keep track of the overall. How much of your account is invested in stocks and how much is invested in bonds. This brings it all together. So I may have a couple of investment accounts. This aggregates everything so I can see, I am 57% invested in US stocks and 20% invested in international. And you can go even deeper than that. So for each of these categories, you can click deeper and see exactly what that US stock investment is made up of. So it really helps you dig into the details of everything that you have and just get a really nice overview of what all of your different holdings are. Like I said, I don't use this that much. It's just nice to kind of see what's going on and feel like you know what you have in all of these different accounts. So like I mentioned, I spend most of my time on this dashboard, and then whenever I need to do something or whenever something changes, I'll come over to the retirement planner. I'll look at the retirement. I will look at the education expenses, especially when I was setting up the 529. So there are just a lot of really great, easy tools in Personal Capital that makes managing your money so much easier and not feel like such a chore. So if you have any questions that weren't answered in this tutorial, go ahead and drop them in the description box below. And in that description box, you will also find a link to a blog post with a little bit more step-by-step instructions to help you go through all of these tools on your own. If this video is helpful, but you want to see the step-by-step a little bit more in depth, plus a review of my experience using Personal Capital, then click the link in the description below to see that on theworthproject.co. If you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. And remember, this channel is all about helping you make the smartest moves with your money so you can live a life you truly enjoy. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.